guys, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. And you know what time it is? It's time for this or that. This is my skincare series where I take two super similar products and I put them in the ring together, do a really in-depth comparison review, ultimately deciding which one is better for you. So today I'm really excited because I have a retinol eye cream battle between Inkey List and First Aid Beauty. Then we're going to move over to one of my favorite product steps, which is a ceramide barrier treatment. Paula's choice is going up head to head with Stratia. And then finally, we're bringing it back home to K-Beauty, and I'm going to be doing a clay mask comparison between Innisfree and Isntree. Always fun to say both of those brands together. So if you guys are so ready for this or that, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. So first up, I want to start off with the retinol eye cream battle between Inkey List and First Aid Beauty. Now, why retinol? You know, why get an eye cream? Retinol is actually really one of the best over-the-counter ingredients you can use for anti-aging. It is incredibly effective at fighting fine lines and wrinkles. It stimulates your skin's collagen production, so it helps to keep your eye area, or just wherever you want to put retinol, right? It helps to keep that skin firm, elastic, smooth. It's really, like I said, it's one of the best ingredients you can get without a prescription for all of your anti-aging or well-aging goals. But one of the biggest drawbacks to retinol is that it has a bit of side effects. It can be kind of a harsh ingredient on the skin. It can cause irritation, dryness, even peeling on the skin. So it may not actually be suitable for all people, especially those with sensitive eye areas. Retinol eye creams, definitely you have to proceed with a little bit of caution. So let's talk about the Inkey retinol eye cream first. Now they are using what their marketing term is Vitalase retinol, which is basically just slow released or delayed released retinol. This is actually a good thing because when you delay the release of retinol in your product, it actually kind of helps to cut down on irritation. It helps to kind of buffer the ingredient a little bit. Now, as far as just like the base of the eye cream, just the base texture, ingredients wise, I mean, it's very minimal. There's not a ton of moisturization, like heavy, rich ingredients here. I would say this is kind of like a generic type of eye cream texture. It's moisturizing, but very lightly so, with pretty good absorption. However, let's talk about the texture of my retinol eye cream because my texture is like cottage cheese. Ugh, it's so gross, guys. Okay, so here's the deal. My product's separated. It came to me separated and it was very watery and very chunky. Yeah, it's not good. I tried to shake it. I tried to massage the tube. I've literally done everything. I have improved it a little bit, but I really can't fully get it to go back together. If you recall, I also have had separation issues with another Inkey List product, their Oat Cleansing Balm. That product separated on me too. So it's not really like it's a bad batch or something. It's a brand issue. Let's just be honest here. It's an incredibly affordable product. I can give some allowances for these types of things. I can be fair, but I just want to be very clear that like this is a brand issue, the separation. All that being said though, I still use mine. I never let a product go to waste if I can help it. I was able to get it like 80% fully together, if that makes sense. So it's still usable, but yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, so when I work it into my skin, it does seem to come back together. And I really detected light moisture from this. It's not a really rich eye cream and it's not a heavy eye cream at all. And it has very good absorbency. Now let's talk about the First Aid Beauty Retinol Eye Cream. One of the biggest things here is they are using micro encapsulated retinol, which is slow release retinol. It's the same thing. So they both are utilizing slower released retinol, which helps to cut down on irritation. You might notice that this ingredients list actually has quite a few barrier supportive ingredients in here, like ceramide, cholesterol, and fatty acids. That's actually really good, especially cut down on irritation associated with retinoids. This also has peptides. I love to see peptides in eye creams. I think they're very compelling. And we do have palmitoyl tripeptide 1, which is actually a peptide that can stimulate collagen production. So this peptide is actually supporting the collagen production of the retinol that we already have in the eye cream. We also have caffeine, which is great to kind of refresh and depuff the eye area. And we also have a stabilized form of vitamin C, magnesium ascorbyl and that's really bringing the brightening benefit to this eye cream. The texture is definitely more creamy. I mean, it's not separated. It's not cottage cheese. No, it definitely does have a little bit more of an elegant feel in the texture. It's a little bit more moisturizing, a little bit more creamy, definitely more silky. It's got great absorbency and it's not greasy. It's really not that heavy, but it does bring a little bit more moisture to the eye area. My one gripe with this one, it's not the texture, it's actually the packaging. Pretty straightforward eye cream tube, and I think that that is absolutely fine, but mine actually used to have a little silver band around the cap. You'll notice I don't have that anymore because it just rubs off. And it starts rubbing off immediately, and it gets like all the little glitter on your hands and stuff. And quite honestly, I think that's pretty cheap and tacky for it to do that. I think that it's better left off of the packaging if it's not going to last very long. So definitely worth mentioning because it's a big annoyance. So this or that. And I think that both of these products have something to offer in each different category. So when it comes to price, Inkey List wins because it's only $10, where the First Aid Beauty is about $45. And they're both the same size, offering the same amount of product. So it's a pretty even this or that, right? And I would say $10 is definitely more my speed when it comes to eye cream. So definitely affordability, Inkey List wins. Let's talk about texture though. Clearly First Aid Beauty wins on that one, but I think the biggest one that you guys are looking for is performance. And I've been testing both of these products for a very long time. I've been so excited to do this review, and there's definitely some interesting findings here. So let's talk about Inkey List first. Yes, it has a bad texture. We've heard it a million times, right? But one thing that I did notice with this product is it can actually be a little bit irritating. For me, it was not severely so. I am a tretinoin user, just by the way, in case you didn't know. So I do use prescription strength, essentially, retinol, and I'm very used to it. I've been on it for over a year. I don't put it on top of my eyelids, but I do get it pretty far up my under eye area, and I don't usually have any irritation or problems with it. However, when I use the Inkey List, I can just feel a little bit. It's really not that bad. It's not super irritating, but I can feel just a little bit of extra dryness, just a little bit of extra irritation. It's not severe, but when we're doing a this or that battle, I think that that information is really helpful to know. First Aid Beauty, on the other hand, no irritation. None at all. You know what? I think this just really comes down to formulation here, because when you look at the Inkey List ingredients list, you'll notice it's very minimal and there's not a ton of moisturizing ingredients. Not a ton. It's still an eye cream, but not a ton. First Aid Beauty, on the other hand, you may think that those are filler ingredients, like maybe not necessary in an eye cream, but I really do think they've had their focus on really, cutting down on irritation, because they've got barrier supportive ingredients, ceramide, cholesterol, fatty acid. We've got a lot of moisturizing ingredients in here too. And so I think they just formulated this to really cut down on potential irritation. And for my personal skin, that's what did it. My best friend, she has used both of these products. She has a very sensitive skin that's prone to eczema, and she did develop some eyelid eczema from the Inkey List retinol eye cream, but she used the First Aid Beauty, and she was like, it's definitely a lot more gentle for my very sensitive eye area. As far as actual results go, I think they're actually both pretty good, actually, and that's pretty great for a $10 product like Inkey List. I actually like to use this on my neck, and you can even use it on just little lines, like a spot treatment around your face. Especially they say you can use it around your mouth area. For me, like I said, I'm an experienced tretinoin user, so that works out really well for me. But for whatever reason, my eyes just don't want to have this formulation. It really likes how the First Aid Beauty has kind of buffered the irritation through their formulation. But if you're on a budget, you don't have particularly sensitive eye area, I think the Inkey list is the way to go, especially if you just want to try it out. It's very low risk, you know, financially speaking, right? First Aid Beauty is a bigger financial commitment for a kind of tiny eye cream, but if you have sensitive eyes and you want to try retinol in an eye cream, don't bother with Inkey list. Save the $10, put it towards First Aid Beauty, because formulation wise, you're most likely going to have better success with that one. Next up is our battle between the Paula's Choice Omega Plus Complex Serum versus Stratia Liquid Gold. Oh yeah. Now these are products that I'm calling a ceramide based barrier treatment. You may think about them as a moisturizer or as a serum, but honestly, they are products with the same goal in mind, and they really do use the same philosophy to achieve it. And they're using ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids to do that. Now, those are actually the three major components of your skin's moisture barrier. You already have those in your skin, but they're actually very, very effective when added topically through skincare, and that really helps to fortify and strengthen your skin's moisture barrier. So let's start off with Stratia Liquid Gold ingredients. We have ceramide NP, AP, and EOP, plus cholesterol and a variety of fatty acids. You'll also see another moisture barrier supportive ingredient here, phytosphingosine. Not only supportive for your moisture barrier, but really fun to say as well. The one ingredient that I think makes Stratia Liquid Gold completely unique to all the barrier treatments that you could possibly use is the 4% of niacinamide. Now, niacinamide is a brightening ingredient. It will definitely bring some complexion benefits, but 4% of niacinamide can actually help to stimulate your skin's synthesis of free fatty acids and ceramides and cholesterol. So it can actually help your skin repair itself. Instead of just adding the ingredients in topically, it can actually kind of help tell your skin to do a little bit better. Now, texture wise, it's actually a light layer of moisture, but it's very moisturizing. Like, it's a rich, nourishing, but still light, kind of lotion-like texture. It definitely applies in a thin and breathable layer, but it does bring a nice moisturization pack with all of those great oils in it. There is really no occlusivity to this, like, at all. They do market this as a moisturizer, and for a lot of people, I think it'll work that way, but for me personally, it does not. I need occlusivity because I suffer from dehydration, and it's just what my skin likes and prefers. So I actually kind of use this sort of like a serum, or maybe even like an emulsion. It's not an emulsion, but I just mean like that step right before moisturizer. If you've seen any skincare routine from me, you know that I use this quite often, and that's where I would put it. I actually put it after serum, but before my final moisturizer, and it works perfectly for me like that. With all those great ingredients in there, it could be a serum replacement for a lot of people as well. There's flexibility on how you can use this. Don't feel like you have to use it as a moisturizer. You can add it into your skincare routine in a lot of different ways. Now let's move on to the Paula's Choice Serum ingredients list. We have ceramide EOP, EOS, NP, NS, and AP. We have cholesterol and a good variety of fatty acids here. And very interesting, there is a stable form of vitamin C in this formulation. It is usually referred to as A-tip. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the full name because it's just goofy. But this actually has some promising benefits for brightening up the skin, but it's not going to oxidize or cause irritation on the skin like, active vitamin C can. So very interesting to see that one on the list. So the texture of the Paula's Choice is interesting because it does have that moisturizing richness to it like liquid gold does, but I honestly feel like this applies in a lighter layer. And they're both actually pretty light. For being so moisturizing, they're both actually pretty light, but this just feels a little bit lighter. Now, this is actually marketed as a serum, so it makes sense for it to kind of utilize a slightly lighter texture when it is intended to go towards the middle of your skincare routine rather than the end of your skincare routine. But either way, I found it very pleasant. And it was not greasy, and it was not very heavy on the skin. So this or that, and spoiler, I think both of these are excellent products. They really are. But there are some key differences here that I think could make or break either one of these for you. And one of the first ones is like the value between the two. Because Stratia, it retails for about $27, but you get 60 milliliter of product. This for me lasts pretty close to about 6 months, and I use this like 2 times a day. So there's definitely a lot of value, especially for the price with Stratia. Now, on the other hand, Paula's Choice is a little bit more expensive. It's $37 for less, for 30 milliliter of product. So this is something that would last you a little closer to 3 months with like a twice daily usage. So there's definitely a bigger difference in value and price here. Now, texture wise, you know, I don't find a huge difference between the two, but I do tend to get very like microscopically picky in this or that. And so I would say that the Paula's Choice is a little bit lighter in feel on the skin and a little bit less moisturizing than Liquid Gold. One big thing that I have to bring up about Liquid Gold that is important to know, it's not a deal breaker to me, but it's important to know, the color of Liquid Gold, the sea buckthorn element in here, it is yellow. If you are very pale, it may show a little yellow on your skin. If you're very pale, it does not show on my skin. And just be careful of like white sheets and maybe like a white bathrobe, like a collar or clothing or something, because sometimes a little residue of it could get onto like your linens or onto your shirt, and it will make it yellow. It should come out in the wash, but it could make it yellow. It's just something to be aware of. It's just a natural element of sea buckthorn. It's just something you have to deal with. Now, as far as performance goes, you know what? I think these are neck and neck. I think they both perform beautifully. I personally use these products currently in my skincare routine to help reduce the dryness and irritation associated with tretinoin use. I have used Liquid Gold in the past to heal a damaged moisture barrier, but now I just use it to kind of keep my skin in really good, strong shape as I use a slightly more aggressive ingredient. And I will tell you, Paula's Choice, it's a newer addition to my skincare routine, so I can't speak to its barrier healing properties, although I feel like it would do the job. It is really staying neck and neck with Liquid Gold as far as keeping my skin strong. Like, I didn't notice a huge difference between switching from Liquid Gold to Paula's Choice for tretinoin nights. I think it performs beautifully. However, there's one big difference in how this has been formulated that really, in my mind, pushes Liquid Gold just a little bit more forward. You know it's my bias because I've been using it the longest, but I will point out that 4% of niacinamide that you find in Liquid Gold, that actually makes this an effective anti-aging product too, because 4% of niacinamide brightens your skin. It definitely helps with the synthesis of fatty acids and cholesterol in the skin, definitely. But it also helps stimulate collagen production in your skin. And you know, I always say that's the name of the game for, you know, fighting fine lines and wrinkles, keeping your skin firm and elastic. 4% of niacinamide is a very effective amount for anti-aging purposes. And so in my mind, that makes this a little bit more multi-purpose, a little bit more beneficial, maybe to more people in their skincare routines, right? So this definitely is something that's going to continue to keep having a place in my personal skincare routine. But all that being said, I was not disappointed at all in Paula's Choice. I think this is also a very beautiful formulation. It's just doing it a little bit differently. And finally, let's get back to our K-beauty roots and let's compare the Isntree Real Mugwort Clay Mask up against the Innisfree Pore Clearing Clay Mask 2 times. So let's start off with the Innisfree. You know, this is a clay mask that has been popular for a super duper long time. Definitely cult status type of clay mask here. They are using 2 different types of clay as well as volcanic ash, which really helps with sucking up the sebum from your pores. And we also have lactic acid in here, which I was actually really surprised to find. And sometimes lactic acid does play a role for adjusting the pH in skincare. skincare, but I do believe the lactic acid is here for a gentle exfoliation because there's also glycolic acid here as well. So just a little bit of cell turnover with this clay mask. So this is popular for a reason because this is very effective at cleaning out your pores. Like on the very first use, I noticed a really nice refinement of the pores on my nose. That's like my biggest problem area because I do have combination skin and I can get quite oily and gunky in my T-zone. My U-zone, we're pretty good there. It's pretty dry, but the pores on my nose can get quite stretched out with gunk, and clay masks really kind of help keep that in check. I was really surprised to see such improvement on my nose with just one use. This is also a nice thick, moist clay, if that makes sense. Like it just doesn't dry out super fast on you because you guys know, you're in the know, right? When a clay mask dries on your skin, like fully dries, that's when it starts drying out your skin. You don't want to leave it on to the point where it starts to dry out your skin. So a nice moist, I can keep saying moist, nice moist clay can prolong your masking just a little bit more and kind of keep that dryness at bay. Now let's talk about the Isntree Real Mugwort Clay Mask. Now this uses 6 different types of clay. It also has mugwort leaf powder that you can see in the texture, and there's also a few other physical, really gentle physical exfoliants in here. They do say that you can use this, like you can work it into your skin, get a little physical exfoliation, and then leave it like a mud mask. But quite honestly, I've never used it that way. And in fact, I was actually kind of surprised to learn you can use it that way. And the reason I bring that up is there's absolutely no judgment in physical exfoliation. I use a little bit from time to time. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you need it. But I know for some people like me as well, I have sensitive skin and I don't always appreciate that. And so this is definitely a product you can apply onto your skin without getting the abrasiveness on your skin. So don't let that be a drawback if that's something you don't like, but be aware if it's something you do like, you can use the mask that way. This is another really great masking experience. I mean, this is another moist clay texture. I don't know what it is about the word moist, but like it's kind of a weird word. It definitely is one of those clay textures that doesn't dry out on you super quick. So it's definitely a lot more gentle on the skin, and this works. This sucks the gunk out so good. Wow. Another product on the first use, you're going to notice some pore refinement. It's definitely very impressive, and it's definitely doing what it needs to do. So this or that, I mean, they both sound really good, right? There's really 2 main differences here, and it's going to be based on your skin type, I think, because when I use the Innisfree, I actually feel a little dry with this one. Now I am prone to dryness on my skin. I can get a little dehydrated, but I think that the sebum sucking ability of the Innisfree is so stinking good that it's really the most appropriate clay mask for oily skin types. Like really oily skin, you're gonna love this because it really sucks the juice, the oil out of your skin super, super well. For those of you who are a little bit more combination, leaning on dehydrated, closer to dry skin, you're not going to like that. It's actually going to end up making you feel a little bit more dry, just a touch more. You might feel that it's a little harsh. So that's like one of the biggest things I noticed about that mask. Now the Isntree, it sucks up the gunk, but it doesn't have as much like oil like sucking abilities. Does that make sense? Like it cleans out the pores, but it just doesn't suck so much oil out that you're left feeling stripped or dry at the end of the masking experience. So this is actually the one that I would recommend for more sensitive skin, slightly more dry skin. You want a little bit of that pore refinement. You want the benefits of a clay, but without the drawbacks, right? Then I would say go for this one because it's a lot more gentle on your skin, but it's still super effective. So it's really just kind of like a pick your flavor, kind of this or that. Oily skin, Innisfree, you're gonna love it. A little bit more sensitive, a little bit more on the dry combination side, you'll love the Isntree. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. There was like a little like mini like storm that like rolled past as we were filming, and then it just like rolled right out of the area. I don't know if you noticed, but it was like, what's going on up there? But we made it through, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I always want to know what your suggestions are for the next episode of this or that, so definitely drop those in the comment box below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, but you did enjoy this video and it helped you out, please consider hitting that subscribe button before you go. I release 2 new skincare focused videos every single week, and don't forget to turn on notifications. I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon. Bye.